Welcome to NFL's presidential address. It's week 15. Prez wants to show you guys his Gale Sayers Chicago Bears jersey. I don't really care about Gale Sayers because he went to KU, so, but he's over here like fondling it in his sweet jumpsuit. Prez, what is that? Is that a giant sweatsuit that matches?
Well, I'm going to the gym right after this show, Kel.
It's good. You got to stay buff. I just came from the gym.
Kel, I love the Chicago Bears.
I do too. They won me some money this week. You have too much more sports memorabilia.
Signed by Jim McMahon.
That's awesome.
Gale Sayers. Who says I don't like the Bears?
YouTube and Twitter. They say, you guys are so funny. I think we're getting to the point where people don't realize we don't care about their fandom. We care about numbers and we care about winning money. It doesn't matter. Week in and week out, we're going to be on or against your team. And this should be no hard feelings, but there's a lot of hard feelings in social media.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to talk about, besides my love for the Bears, is my team growing up, the Dallas Cowboys.
That makes sense.
Drew and Preston, Tony, Roger, Randy and Ed. Come on. Everson Walls. I mean, they were my team. And of course, I make love to the Chicago Bears.
You are such a hot mess. You are so funny.
It's the NFL presidential address, week 15. I won last night, Kel. We're taping on Tuesday. I took the under in the Minnesota-Seattle game.
Under and Seattle. It was a good day.
I lost 2 games on Sunday by a missed extra point. I took Philly as a dog into overtime. I don't want to talk about it. I'm in a great mood, Kel. This is my 3rd video of the day. Really quickly, everybody. We started a hockey show today. It's
oh, good. You guys started it.
Yeah, it's called Puck Time. It's with Alex B. Smith as well as Andrew McGinnis. Both you can find at Sports Memo. It's an amazing show. We did a half an hour today. We look at almost every game on the board. It's super structured. Information is phenomenal. It's actually one of the best shows that we do, I think. And you can get it at Wager Talk TV on YouTube, as well as we've turned it into a podcast. So make sure to check that out. I also had Dave Koken today on Morning Joe and the Pro. And Dave is so good. I mean,
I love Dave.
Yeah, he's such a legend. He gave out some amazing info. So I just want to do quick promos in case you guys don't listen to the hockey show or Morning Joe. Kelly, Dave is 64% in college football on the season. He went 67% last year in the bowls. We are giving his Las Vegas Bowl best bet away for $2. No coupon required. Just head over to Wager Talk and grab that play. It's $2.
Oh, it's for today. It's for $2 Tuesday.
No, we're actually going to... No, Kevin Dolan is $2 Tuesday.
Oh, for the entire week.
Yeah, right Saturday. Up until Friday. $2 for Dave's play. As well, $39 for a week of NHL, either mine at wagertalk.com. Use the promo code PUCktime, one word. Or if you head over to Sports Memo, you get Alex B. Smith or Andrew McGinnis, a week of their NHL. For $39, again, same promo code. PUCktime, one word.
Oh, God.
I love the Bears, Kelly.
I love what the Bears did this week, but we're not going to get to it yet. But I think I might be betting against them.
I know.
And people are going to freak out.
I know. I'm so with you. Should we just start at the Green Bay Bears game?
Do you just want to? We can. Let's talk about it. Total 45. This one's come down from 46.5. 5.5. 5.5. You want to give me 5.5 with Aaron Rodgers 5.5 with Aaron Rodgers. I feel like I'm like, okay, Mike McCarthy was a big part of the Packers' issues. We knew this. They looked good last week, I know, albeit they were at Lambeau. They looked really good against the Atlanta Falcons. And here's this divisional game. I think the Packers have to show that they're a better team without McCarthy. They have to.
The crazy thing about this is the Packers are super live to make the playoffs, Kelly. I think 8's going to get the last wild card spot. If you look at the schedules, I mean, Minnesota has a tough road ahead. Carolina has New Orleans twice. Seattle's got a tough road ahead, although they're in. But that last wild card spot is up for grabs. If Green Bay sweeps with that tie that they have, they're going to make the playoffs. And the crazy thing is, I think they can do it, Kel. Chicago finds themselves in a bit of a tough spot. Obviously, they're going to get up for a divisional game against Aaron Rodgers. But, man, their offense looked really bad last week. Trubisky...
Three turnovers.
But it's not even that. It's Trubisky's QPR. I mean, his rating is just terrible. He's struggling. And Green Bay has turned into a run-first team, which has opened up some lanes for Aaron Rodgers. And like you, Kelly, I mean, plus 5.5 for Aaron Rodgers in a must-win game, in a division rivalry game against a Chicago team that really is struggling to score.
You're right, though. Packers have the Jets next, and then the Lions and Lambeau. They are very, very live to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and you can get a good number on them for making the playoffs. So, head over to your sportsbook and check out what they're offering for Green Bay to make the playoffs. I think they cover this game, Kelly, and I'll tell you, I would not be shocked if they win this game outright. I think Aaron Rodgers wants to make a statement. I think he's been frustrated with McCarthy for at least a couple of years. I think Green Bay is going to be a tough out right now. And for a team that is struggling to score, I can't lay 5.5 in this game. And Kelly, I like under the total of 45 as well. I mean, Green Bay's defense is looking good too. Blake Martinez looks great. They're decent against the run. I really feel like Green Bay is one of the best plays on the board, even though I have deep, deep love for the Chicago Bears.
I think I have a Chicago something I'm going to send you. It's going to cost me $87,000 to send it to Canada, but maybe I'll just give it to you next time you're here. I have some funny sports memorabilia. I have no idea where I got it from, but you can have my Bears because I'm all over the Packers this week. So it must mean I just hate the Bears for life. Let's talk about Thursday night. This is going to be one of the better Thursday night games we get to see this year, so I'm really excited for it. Chargers going to Kansas City, catching 3.5, 3 minus 125. CG's sitting on. They're not getting off that 3, and that's really kind of telling me what this is saying here. Total of 53. Prez, your thoughts?
This game is super interesting and a sexy must-watch football game. The thing about it is, what's fascinating to me about this game is both offenses are perfectly suited for the weaknesses of the defenses they're playing against. The Chargers, how high I am on them. It is such a shame that these are the two best teams in the AFC, and one of them is going to be a wild card, and we're going to find out which one on Thursday night. Where this game becomes interesting, Kelly, is Kansas City is 32nd in run D, and the Chargers are going to run Melvin Gordon down their throat. He's suiting up for Thursday night's game.
We know for sure he's okay.
It looks like he's suiting up for the game. So from a San Diego perspective, they're going to really take advantage of Kansas City's biggest weakness, and that's their run defense. But conversely, Kelly, Los Angeles, which looks like an almost perfect football team on all sides of the ball, they're really struggling with the long pass. We saw it against Cincinnati. 3 wide receivers wide open on plays over 20 yards. Driscoll, or whoever the hell his name is on Cincinnati, found one of those wide receivers twice out of 3 times. although the Chargers secondary is rock solid, if you look deep into the numbers, they've been struggling all year against the deep pass. And one thing we know about Kansas City, they're not shy whipping that ball to Tyreek Hill on some 50-yard bomb. This game is perfect for both teams. I actually like over the total of 53, and I like the favorite here, Kelly. You know, I think we saw something with Kansas City last week. Even though their defense has struggled, they were able to make stops when they needed them. They are getting sacks. They are getting turnovers. I think Kansas City is going to feel really good after that game last week. And the Chargers did not look great against Cincinnati. I'm taking over 53 points and Kansas City.
All right, Saturday NFL. That's always exciting. Houston at New York, laying 6 now on the road. There's a couple 6.5s if you like the Jets. I am not one of those people that like the Jets. I took the Jets last week and got pretty lucky, I felt like, for them to get the outright win. I had 4.5, and that was because my show is 2-minute warning that I do with Will Bernanke right before kickoff. He said, listen, we are loaded. Our biggest liability is the Buffalo Bills. And I said, okay, fine. I'll roll a little bit on the New York Jets, and they got the outright win. I'm not rolling with them here. I did step in front of Houston. I took the Colts last week. Thought it was the right angle. Buy low, sell high, kind of one of those deals. And other than that, it was hard to step in front of that freight train. But Houston, I don't think, goes to New York and loses this game.
Yeah, you know, it's a tough one, Kelly. They just came off of a huge winning streak. They've got to feel a bit down. And, you know, interestingly, Houston is struggling in the red zone. They're one of the worst teams in football in the red zone, which is such a surprise, given that Deshaun Watson is a running QB and they can, you know, they've got Thomas, they've got Hopkins who can catch almost anything thrown in his direction, Lamar Miller. This team should be much better in the red zone than they currently are. But what is interesting about this game is the opposite of the Kansas City and Chargers game, and that is the New York Jets' strength is running the ball. Nobody can run the ball against Houston, Kelly. I think the New York Jets are going to have no choice but to put the ball in the air. And I think that the ends, J.J. Watt, Clowney, they're going to have a heyday on Donald. I agree with you on Houston. I'm not going to bet it, but I do like under the total of 41.5 points. Kelly, I struggle to see the Jets putting up more than 16 in this game.
Yeah, I can see that. 16, 17 sounds about right.
So, yeah, I'm playing under the total.
Okay. All right, this game looks fishy as hell. As someone who needs the Broncos to win another game, do I need to win one game, 2 games? I need to win 1 game to push, 2 games to win. Cleveland catching 3 in Mile High, total 45.5. I'm going, wait a minute here. I mean, the Browns need one more win to get over their season win total. They're 8-5 against the spread on the season. And this looks like the Browns could go into Mile High and win this game.
No chance. This game is an overreaction game on both accounts.
Okay.
Denver looked terrible against San Fran last week. And the public is overreacting to that game and how bad Denver looked. Conversely, Cleveland beat Carolina. They're playing good football, and the public is overreacting on how good Cleveland, and I say will be, not is yet. I really like Denver at -3 in this football game. I don't think Cleveland and Baker Mayfield knows what's coming. I mean, this defense is going to be lights out for the Broncos.
Yeah, especially because if you listen to Von Miller's press conference, he admitted that Broncos defense was not necessarily overlooking the 49ers, but didn't come to play as tough as they should have.
Well, but they did in the second half, and I think that's
correct.
I think that's what we're going to see with Denver. I think Baker Mayfield is going to be run around the field. I like under the total of 45.5 in this football game, and I like Denver. I actually have no problem taking both, and I know you're not supposed to take a favorite and an under. But I again, like the New York Jets.
I will say 3 weeks in a row now, I bet Denver unders, and they've cashed. They've been absolute money. So that is something to consider here, that the bookmakers just haven't adjusted enough on this Broncos offense as well.
And it's the same total as we saw in San Fran, and we're going to have cold weather in Denver. Denver and the under in this game for sure.
All right. This is an interesting one, and I'm kind of back and forth because Minnesota looked pretty terrible last night. And I said, last week, I'm taking Seattle. I can't back Kirk Cousins not only on the road, but especially in prime time. Sure enough, I don't know what Mike Zimmer was thinking, not kicking field goals. Again, I was on Seattle, but I'm going, what are you guys thinking? There's something about going to Seattle. Coaches just lose their minds because Mike McCarthy cost himself a game there as well. But Miami catching 7 at Minnesota, total 44.5. Miami off that huge, crazy lateral win over the Patriots. I was on Miami, but I was not on them to win the game. So that was pretty crazy and intense. I know they busted up a lot of people's Caesars.
Yeah, so, firstly, I had no issue with them going for it on 4th down at the end of that game. Their defense was playing really good. I think they punch it in. They have a real chance to win that football game. And if they don't punch it in, Kel, and they keep Seattle from getting a 1st down, which they did, they get great field position out of it. I don't have a major issue with what Zimmer did there. My issue is with Cousins. I mean, yeah, okay, this guy's a stat machine. Sure, he's got an incredible, completion percentage, throwing 2 yards. One of his throws was backwards 2 yards, which was absurd. I can't take Minnesota at all here. I mean, this team, the problem here mentally and emotionally is this team had the wild card locked up with a win against Seattle, and they had the win locked up. Their defense played incredible. I
was at the rodeo, so I was only watching on my phone, but it was 3-0 for the better half of the entire game. So yeah. I can't say that I know exactly why they lost that game, but I was not feeling happy about my Seattle minus 3.5 at all.
Well, listen, Minnesota is coming home just deflated, and Miami 7-6. A wild card in sniffing range, an incredible win last week. But look past the miracle ending of that Miami game. Their offense looked good the whole game, Kelly.
They did.
And that was against a stout New England defense. Sure, Minnesota's defense is better than New England's. 7 is a big number here. I'm taking the Fins.
All right, Oakland at Cincinnati, catching 3, total 46. I'll be honest with you. I was on the Raiders, catching 11, but that was a bet against Big Ben and the Steelers going on the road. It had nothing to do with the Raiders. I did not watch 1 second of that game, and when I saw the Raiders won that game outright, I was floored.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Boswell slipped for a tying field goal. The interesting thing about that is that we thought Oakland was packing it in,
tanking,
going for draft picks. And then bad hair John Gruden, ridiculous visor John Gruden, gets so excited about the win. You question, like, are they playing for draft picks? I don't know now. With that said, Kel, the line came out at 3.5. There's money coming in on Oakland. I don't buy it. Here's a team that's flying across country, playing in a different time zone, playing in freezing cold, windy, maybe snowy weather. I understand Cincinnati has a rookie quarterback at the helm. And I understand that Cincinnati is garbage. But they played okay against San Diego on the road.
16.5-point dogs.
This is a short number for a home team that wants to start feeling better. I just don't know if Cincinnati has quit on their coach. I'm going to take the Bengals in this game minus the 3. One of my favorite plays on the board.
All right, Tampa Bay, who looked good in the first half against the Saints. I mean, they were catching, 8 or 9 at home, and I considered playing them. I'm really glad I didn't. Saints came back roaring in the second half, but Now catching 8 at Baltimore. And Baltimore, I said Lamar Jackson was going to go in Arrowhead. This is the only game I lost on Sunday, was the Chiefs minus 6.5. I knew sharp money came in on Baltimore, but I didn't care. I said, listen, Lamar Jackson's going to go to Arrowhead, and he is going to experience what a loud stadium's like. And he went in and he played good football. So I can see why the line is as high as it is, but I'm not laying 8 with Baltimore here.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Baltimore was one play away, one ridiculously good play to Tyreek Hill away from winning that game, and Lamar being 4-0 on the road. It's too many points, Kelly. You know, you got Baltimore is running the ball over 62% of every play that they're from scrimmage. That number is so massive. It's tough to take a favorite over a touchdown when their offense is so one-dimensional towards the run. They're going to slow the game down to a crawl. If they're up by 6, 7, 5, they're going to run 2 out of 3 times to kill the clock. What are you doing?
Putting on fuzzy slippers, my feet are freezing. You're complaining about my shirt and how people are going to get mad I don't have any cleavage. I'm freezing here in Vegas. It's like 40 degrees.
Well, I'm not the one complaining about your shirt. We're getting comments on our YouTube videos that you're not showing off enough cleavage.
It's like see-through almost.
Okay, well, you know what? Enjoy, everybody, and we will get some cleavage from Kelly again.
Yeah, it's called July.
Anyway, back to this game. You know, I like Tampa Bay plus the 8. This Tampa Bay team's been a tough out. They've got 5 wins. You know, their defense played really good against New Orleans in the first half. You know, where I'm really looking in this game is under the total. It came out at 47.5. We're down to 46.5. You know, anytime I can take a team like Denver or a team like Baltimore or a team like the New York Giants at that 45 number, I'm leaning on the under every time because they're running teams and the clock just keeps moving, Kelly. Couple of field goals in the red zone. This game goes way under the total. Baltimore's defense, look how good they looked against Kansas City's offense. Tampa Bay isn't great. Kansas City. This game's going under the total of 46.5.
All right, another game I really like this week. Dallas catching 3 at Indianapolis, total 47. I'm going to be on the Colts. I get it. Dallas has won 5 straight. Cowboys fans, such as yourself, losing their absolute minds. I'm not buying it. I think the Colts is the play here.
Kelly, I agree with you. You know, look, Dallas has surprised me. I was on Philadelphia last week on Sunday. Look, Dallas put up way more yards than Philadelphia. It was 2-1 in a time of possession. But when push comes to shove, the game started with Philadelphia getting a turnover right on the kickoff. For some inexplicable reason, the refs made a bonehead call, and Philly did not get the ball. The game was super tight the whole way through. Philadelphia took them into overtime. They should have covered, and had Philadelphia not have missed the extra point, they actually would have won the game outright. Dallas is in a tough spot here. You know, they've got more division rivalries up next on their schedule. They're traveling to Indianapolis. Indianapolis looks good, Kelly, and I agree with you. I like Indy minus the 3 in this football game.
Sweet. All right, Detroit at Buffalo, a game nobody cares about. Total 38.5. Looks like the lowest total on the board minus one other game. Buffalo laying 2.5. Detroit has just kind of been reeling for weeks now. I don't know what to make of this team, to be really honest with you. And again, I told you I bet against Buffalo laying points to the Jets last week, but that again was some inside information from one of my favorite bookmakers.
There's a lot of smart money coming in on Buffalo this week, Kel. It opened up at a pick'em. It's now minus 2.5. You know, I'm not going to bet this game at all, but I mean, from an opinion perspective, I would lean on Detroit. They went into Arizona and they won, and it was on the road. And it's not like Buffalo is this juggernaut so much better than Arizona. I mean, both teams have got good defenses. Both teams are carrying rookie quarterbacks. Both teams are struggling to run the ball. The fact that Detroit showed me that they want to win last week is really why I'm leaning towards them here. I'm with you. I mean, Buffalo, they're just not a very good football team.
Especially laying points 2 weeks in a row. I'm not buying it.
I'm not betting this game, but I lean on Detroit at +2.5.
All right, do we want to talk about Green Bay, Chicago again?
Green Bay on the money line. Let's move on.
Let's do it. Tennessee.
Oh, wait.
What? Oh, yeah. Just in case.
Okay, go on.
You're a mess. All right, Tennessee catching 2.5 of the Giants. Giants back as a favorite. You got to love it. I'm not backing the Giants as a favorite. I'm not going to probably touch this game at all, but it's funny. Every time the Giants are a dog, they seem to come through. Every time the Giants are laying points, we know what happens.
You know the crazy thing here again, Kel? 8 wins gets that last wild card spot. Giants win out. They're 8-8. This Giants team is playing much better football. Look, Tennessee is 7-6. Like Miami, the wild card is theirs for the taking. I think they're going to struggle, though, here, Kel. I mean, I'm having a hard time with the side. I think we're going to see a 3-point game.
It looks like a 3-point game.
Yeah. I don't know how you can't play the under, though. I mean, 43.5 is a pretty big number for two teams that really are basically going to run the ball the entire football game. And it's not like Henry is going to put up 250 and 4 TDs again. This game is going to be literally about ball control, ball possession, and running. And the only question on the total is, are these guys going to break 70-yard runs, or is it going to be 5 to 12-yard runs? If it's 5 to 12-yard runs all day long, there is no chance this game goes over the total of 43.5. I lean on the New York Giants here, but the play for sure is on under the total of 43.5 points.
All right, the lowest total of the week, Washington at Jacksonville. Jacksonville laying 7, total 36. Everybody last week heard all the pros were on Washington. I go, how? I cannot bet a team that has Mark Sanchez. I will not. After I lost that Eagles game, I was furious. And that's how I feel about this one. I don't know if I'm laying 7 with Jacksonville either.
I can't touch this game, side or total, Kel. You know, my motto is always take the lowest total over. But who the hell is going to score in this football game? And how can you take 7 points from a Jacksonville team who can't even score 7 points? And how can you take, +7 on Washington when Mark Sanchez can literally walk the ball into his own end zone twice? It's a baffling football game to me. There's no reason to play it at all. There's lots of other bets on the board, so let's move on.
All right, Arizona at Atlanta. Atlanta laying a big number, 8.5, total 44. There's no way I'm laying 8.5 or 9 with Atlanta.
I have sworn off Atlanta. I made a public declaration about 3 weeks ago that I will not bet on Atlanta again. Atlanta. This is going to be a freaking blowout, Kelly. Here's the bottom line. This Atlanta team is a good football team. They've got weapons everywhere. They lost so many people on defense at the beginning of the season. Kelly, they came into the season with really high hopes. They were a playoff contender from the beginning of the season until week 10 or 11. They've got to be super frustrated with how their season has gone, and they are going to take it out on the Cardinals 40-7. I mean, this game is going to be over that 9 points by halftime. I feel like this is one of those games where Atlanta's just going to come in an emotional mess and say, to hell with this shit. We're showing the world what we're about, and we're getting ready for next year. God willing, Sarkisian won't be there next year. But, man, Arizona just cannot score, Kelly. They're at home
Not
in
unless
the
they're
dome.
playing in Green Bay.
What?
Not unless they're playing in Green Bay.
Well, they're not playing in Green Bay. They're at home in the dome. I'm telling you, I don't like taking these big favorites, but home favorites around the number 10, Kelly, are
I've been
like
great this year.
72%.
Yeah.
And, here's another spot. I'm all over Atlanta at -9.
All right. Seattle, we talked about how good they looked last night. Not offensively, but defensively, they played well. They're now laying 5.5, 6 on the road at San Fran. San Fran off the upset of Denver. Listen, I'm not buying the hype into the San Fran team. I played them once all year, and that was against the Raiders with Nick Mullins. Have not touched them since. Will probably not touch them again. Total 44. I kind of like the under here.
Oh, you have to play the... Look, I played the under on the San Fran-Seattle game a couple of weeks ago. It was offhand like 6-3 with a minute to go in the first half, and then we had a dropped punt, changed everything. I'm with you on this. The under is the play. San Fran's defense looks good, at least decent.
Yeah.
We know how good Seattle's defense looks, and their secondary has come so far. I also think it's going to be a soft spot for Seattle. This past Monday night, yesterday, was an absolute must-win playoff atmosphere game for the Seahawks. They pretty much have the last wild card spot wrapped up. They can't win the division. It's got to be an emotionally down game for the Birds. I like San Fran a little, but I'm with you. The play here is for sure under 44.
All right, an interesting game, dynamics-wise, because New England loses at Miami as almost a double-digit favorite. Pittsburgh loses as a double-digit favorite at Oakland. Now New England -3, total 49. We saw this one last year. Same scenario. Patriots off a bad game versus the Dolphins. They go into Heinz Field. They win the game by 3. I think 3 is the right number here. I know Big Ben's a little banged up. I know James Conner's banged up. But I'm looking at this going, I don't think I'm going to touch it. Your opinion?
Very hard to touch, Kellen. I'll tell you why. Look, the losing streak that Pittsburgh has been on, and the terrible loss to Oakland last week has literally caused them to lose that first or that second seed, which is crucial. They're now going to be playing week 1. They might be playing against a team as good as Houston week 1 of the playoffs. And then the worst scenario, they're going to be playing in either Foxborough or Arrowhead week 2. This Pittsburgh team might not even make the playoffs.
I've heard bad things. I've heard that Tomlin's lost the locker room, and I don't know if that's true or not, but something to
Kelly,
consider.
you've got New England up next. Then you're on the road against New Orleans. You've got Baltimore sniffing your backside, and Baltimore is playing Tampa Bay as a big favorite this week. This is the season for Pittsburgh. Right here, right now, they literally have to win this football game. And for them, what a shame they have the Patriots off of a loss. I can't touch this game at all.
I agree with you. Okay. Interesting here because as you mentioned, so I played Dallas this last week. I know a lot of sharp guys, including yourself, were on the Eagles. And I will take that Dallas win and not tout it and not say anything. I absolutely probably should have lost that game. That being said, I had said the week prior that I thought Philly's win was very fraudulent over the Redskins. Again, mad about the Mark Sanchez stuff. Now I think Philly's loss was really fraudulent to Dallas. So you want to give me 9.5 points with Philly? Total 54 at LA? I'm looking at this going, hey, I might have to be on the Eagles here catching that many points.
Kelly, whose QB rating is higher since week 4, Nick Mullins or Jared Goff?
Well, I'm going to guess Nick Mullins because
Correct.
there's a reason why you asked the question.
Correct.
I mean, this is what I said going into the Chicago game. Yay, Chicago fans. Remember, I was on your team last week. Okay, that being said, I said, listen, Jared Goff was like 26-7 touchdown interception ratios. Now he's like 27-11. He threw 4 interceptions against that Bears defense.
Jared Goff since week 4 has struggled. But not only that, Kelly, the real surprise against Chicago, Todd Gurley touched the ball 8 times in the first half.
I'm not sure what Sean McVay was thinking.
I don't know what Sean Great Hair McVay was thinking at all. It's such a surprise. You know, if you look at the Rams, they're winning games, Kel, but they're winning them by margins way less than 9.
And you're right. That's all they've been doing since they covered against the Niners. And then they just couldn't cover. They just haven't been able to cover for 10 weeks.
Yep. Listen, they are 2-7 against the spread in their last 10 games. 2-7-1. That one being Kansas City against the spread. I don't know how you can back the Rams here, but man, I mean, Philly's got to be so let down. Again, we come back to 8 wins.
Is there any chance Philly can get in or no?
Yeah, they're 6-7. They win their next 3 games and they're in.
Okay.
So,
but they cannot win the division, right?
They can if Dallas loses every game and then they add another game at the end.
Okay, that's what I meant. Like hypothetically, so they're out of winning the NFC East, but they still have a shot to get into the playoffs. So it's not like everything is lost.
No, and we're going to get a good Philadelphia team this week. And, man, with Fletcher Cox back, and we saw it against Dallas, the Philly defense is looking really good. They're tough to run against. I mean, Zeke put up some numbers against them, but they were the numbers between the 20s, and that's very important. Amari Cooper is who destroyed Philadelphia last week, and we're seeing with Jared Goff, he's not the same as he was at the beginning of the season. I think Philly stacks the box and dares Jared Goff to beat him. I lean on under the total of 53.5 in this game. And yeah, Kelly, I like the Eagles.
Okay, Monday night. You know, Saints, like I said, the Saints kind of hit that freight train in Dallas a couple of weeks ago on that Thursday night game. And I looked at Tampa Bay. I did not play them. I looked at them, and sure enough, I was kicking myself at halftime going, damn it, you like Tampa Bay catching all these points. And then here comes New Orleans in the second half. Just absolutely steamrolls them. Now they're only laying 6 at Carolina. And that screams super fishy to me. Divisional game, total 52, Prez. I'm leaning with the primetime home dog here.
I don't know how you can't. And, you know, Kelly, look, we have seen a terrible Cam Newton in the last 2 weeks especially. I mean, last week he was just overthrowing guys. They had 4 tries from the 4-yard line to beat Cleveland. Riviera made terrible calls. I don't know how you don't run Cam at least once in that spot, and I would have ran Cam all 4 times.
He has lost that. He has been out-coached or cost his team a win at least 3 times I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, and you know, losing Greg Olsen has obviously been a big thing, but the problem with Carolina right now is Cam is just missing his throws. But here's what we know about betting, and here's what we know about sport. When a team like Carolina, who is a good team, they've got a great defense, they got Luke in, middle linebacker, Cam is a good quarterback, McCaffrey might be the best all-purpose offensive player in all of football. When you have a team that is good, and they are at the bottom, the lowest of the lows, that's when you got to bet them. And I agree with you here, Kelly. Carolina is the play against the Saints. I would not be shocked if Carolina wins this game outright. Kelly, I like Carolina, Green Bay, and even San Fran as a three-team
Three-team money
line parlay.
I love it. I love it. You know, I'm always looking for those, and you don't get them very often in the NFL.
You want to throw in a 4-team round robin? Take the Jets, take San Fran, take Carolina. And
That's
who was
gonna pay
the
some
last
big
team? I
dividends.
went blank.
What's that?
Oh, in Green Bay.
Green Bay, Carolina, Niners, Jets.
4-team money line, round robin, 3s and 4s. You know how much I hate parlays, but man, lay $10.
Yeah, but money line parlays are different. I argue with people about this all the time. If I'm getting paid 35 to 1 on my money, it's worth a $100 bet.
Dude, lay $10 on each.
Yeah.
It's 4 bets. Do the 3s and the 4s. It's $40. God,
Yeah.
that probably pay you $1,500.
Yeah, easily. I guarantee that 14 money line would pay for a $100 bet would be at
For a
least
$40
70
bet.
Oh, well, 40. But I mean, for me, it'd be like 70 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. I'm going to go do that right now.
Okay, she's Kelly. I'm the Prez. We're done, girl.
Bye, Prez.
Chicago Bears. Who loves the Bears? I love the Bears.
Go back, go.
Green Bay, baby. See you next week.
Bye, Prez.